All right, so let's try using the git stash command or git stash save in order to add our unstaged and staged changes to the stash. So back here, I've got our goodbye world that I've changed, right? Goodbye world and goodbye up in the title. And this is on the branch called goodbye. That's where I am right now. But I have not committed those changes. Let's also do one more thing, like maybe in my app CSS, I'm going to make the body have a background color that's really obvious. Background color of, I don't know, magenta. And again, it doesn't really matter if you don't know CSS, but I've made a very obvious background color, magenta, and it says goodbye world up here, and the title is goodbye. So those are the changes I've made, and I need to switch to master right now for whatever reason, and I don't want to take these changes with me, not to mention the fact that they actually conflict. I can't take at least the index HTML change with me because, as we saw previously, it conflicts with what we have on the master branch. So I don't want to commit. I'm going to use git stash. So if I type git status, if I can actually type it correctly, you can see two files that have been modified. I'm going to call git stash save or just git stash, same thing. And it tells me saved working directory and index state. Index is just what Git calls the staging area. So it saved the staged and unstaged changes on this branch, but it did not commit them. So if I type git status now, we don't see anything, nothing to commit, working tree clean. And if I take a look at my files here, we're back to hello world. We don't have the magenta at all. And if I refresh the page, it's gone. So those changes are not here. And now I can switch to whatever branch I need to. Git switch master, which remember earlier it said I couldn't do because of conflicts. Now I'm on the master branch. We can see here's our hello world from before with all the exclamation points. And then I could go anywhere else. I could apply this changes here if I wanted, or I can go back to the branch I was on before. So git switch back to goodbye. And this is what we're dealing with on goodbye. And if I want to then get those changes back that I've stashed away, we use git stash pop. So this will take the most recently stashed changes, and yes, we can have multiple things in the stash, we'll get to that, but most commonly in my experience, we just have one. I have one thing in the stash at a time. Anyway, so I'm going to reapply those changes to my working copy, which is right here. Git status, just to show you, it says nothing to commit. We don't see that magenta in here, we don't see goodbye world, and now git stash pop. And it tells me, okay, we added those changes back in for you. You modified this file, app CSS, you modified index HTML, and now if I take a look at my file, it says goodbye again. If I look at app CSS, it has magenta in there. If I refresh my page, we see those changes now in the browser where I'm viewing the web page. Cool. So we successfully stashed some changes, and then we applied them. We popped them off. All right, so next up, I'll show you some more examples, and we'll talk about some other stash related commands.